So, hi guys, I'm Yash, and today I'm back again with another very sensitive topic. So, today I'm going to talk about feminism. And before you guys start throwing punches at me, it's just going to be about my perspective on it. Okay, I'm also going to kind of talk about against it. So, let's just watch it, okay, and then judge. So, let's start with it. So, feminism, what do you think it is, right? In simple word, it was basically this whole unity against the acts that were against women and against their rights. Okay, it was kind of a start of a liberation kind of thing where women fought, and while I say the word fought, it I really mean it, because women had to go through too much. And I mean, every country has its own tradition, but in the end, every tradition kind of just became against women. See, it's more about toxic masculinity and everything, but it was the main thing was patriarchy, right? The fathers rules, the fathers rule the house, kind of thing, right? So basically what I want to say is that feminism started as a very good thing, and it did achieved most of what it wanted to achieve, okay, its goal, which was to give women equal rights as men do, right? To stop this whole discrimination, to stop this whole judging them, making or thinking about them of lower class, or kind of taking away their rights to study, taking away their rights to enjoy life, and it was wrong. So I won't go into the Western society right now. Let's start by talking about India, because I'm pretty sure India is still one of the worst country where women are treated so badly that you see this whole thing in your mothers and other people's, right? So let's start. Starting with first thing first, I'm pretty sure that most of the people watching this video might know about Sati Pratha. And those for those who do not know, let me just explain this in simple words. See, when wars happened, like not so long ago, first, of course, but still pretty long ago when wars happened. So basically India has this whole caste system, and there were Rajputs, okay, and the females, it was more like this whole dynasty thing, okay. The females, if like the men lost the war, then we always know that men were killed in the war, but all the women's and the children's, they were tortured till death, and they had to go through they even if the men started the war, they lose the war, but women had to suffer the consequences. And I guess more extreme than men would just kind of die. And even though that was kind of very sad thing, but still female women had to go through more tortures like rape and burning them alive. And that is where Sati Pratha came in. So basically when men died, female also in India, like in Hinduism, basically our bodies are burned after death, okay. So females, according to this whole ritual, females were to sit at female would not where to, it was not forced in old times. So women would kind of sit on the wooden on the flame where her husband's body is burning, and she would burn together with him. Mostly there were many reasons. First, you can see it in a kind of a religious and spiritual way, that maybe she wanted to live along with him. But in war's perspective, it was basically so that even though the king has lost his war, women would choose to die rather than being raped, okay. And to escape this kind of torture, this whole Sati Pratha came into it, okay. And this followed for generations and generation, and then it became something that it shouldn't have. It was about a woman's own choice whether she want to live or she want to go with her husband. But then it kind of becomes this whole forced thing. And let me just clarify this. Yeah, it was forced. I mean, you if your husband died, you just had to die with him. You didn't had any other choice, and you have to be burned alive. You are not dead. You had to be burned alive. So that is how fucked up the whole thing was. And of course, then in West there's whole thing that Christianity. Okay, I do not know more about it, like which Christianity. I mean, there are two types of Christians, right? So I do not know about all of that, but basically, women's had this whole witch tendency. Okay, if women's were smarter, they were called just witch and they were burned alive. Okay, and it is true, and I mean, maybe in West it has significantly dropped this whole thing. Maybe, of course, they are not burned alive right now, but in India there is still everything going on for dowry. Dowry is basically then that when a marriage happens, when an arranged marriage happens, okay, so the bride's family gotta pay something to the groom's family, just pay. It's like a culture thing, but it's not a culture thing. Okay, it was dowry was no form of money. It was simply things given to the daughter so that she could have a good life, and it was kind of like a gift. But dowry has become something else in India, and people demand lakhs and lakhs and crores worth of, and just for your instance, like millions and millions of money. Plus the whole marriage cost from the bride's family. In India it's a big burden to have a daughter, and that is why my daughters were like very wrongly killed from their birth. So this thing all happened. There were people who would like snap a girl's neck if she was born. Child was killed and thrown in a dustbin. So in my school, near my school, there are like lots of hospital. And one day our teacher and many students saw that in the dustbin near the hospital there was a child thrown. She was a girl, and of course she was dead at that moment. And this is very common in India if you don't know it, and it still happens. There is a lot of discrimination against girls, and in the rural areas, of course I'm not talking about urban areas. People have accepted it, and people have gotten modern and educated, and they know that women deserve things that men do. Okay, then there is whole this equality thing. But by all of this I mean to say that women suffered a lot, and women fought for their rights, and they got them. Okay, but this is where the video's topic completely changes, and maybe you're gonna hate me right now, but I'm going to talk about how this whole thing is again coming to this whole loop. Okay, and it's again repeating the same things that our fathers did, and the patriarchy has taken another form now it's not about men but women, and it's still the same thing. So this loop, I want to talk about this whole loop thing. Okay, so let's start with this time I have written the topics down specifically because I'm pretty sure that all of my previous video I was sounding too confused, and I was just spouting and yapping around non-stop. So this time I am going to from a kind of chronicle way. So let's start with of course I've already talked about what feminism originally stood for, right? It was for women rights, equal pay and other stuff like that. But it was basically about equality and giving what women were not given just because they were women, or say they were born as a different gender. Okay. Now, see, it was basically, I guess, about opportunity. I guess it was about giving women the same opportunity as men do. But now we are going to talk about, okay, let's talk about its advantages more. So the good side, right? Because there is going to be a big turnaround. So before that, let's just talk about the first part of the video more, which is about the good side of feminism and what it originally stood for. Okay, so women gained access to like education and career because of this. In India there were many kind of plans like Beti Bachao Yojana, and there were more like lots and lots of schemes, government schemes for women, and then they got their rights and everything. And do you know that actually women have kind of more rights than men do? Yeah, in constitution there are more rights to women provided than men do. Okay, do not take this in another way. It's basically saying that women got what they fought for, right? Now let's see, the financially independent increase. Definitely women are earning, and women are kind of in a very good position. And when this whole thing started, when I was in like 8th or 9th class, women's kind of just, it was like a revolutionary thing. Like the number of females in topper list, or cracking exams or taking jobs in study, basically in academic results and stuff, females always scored higher than men's, and the ratio was too high, like to even believe, because it was kind of a revolution kind of thing. And then right now it's also revolution. The amount of females doing this is a lot higher, and you have already noticed this. Females usually score like better than men do. Okay, it is the truth. Okay, but less about, and the awareness about harassment of course increased, and it is one of the best thing that happened during this whole thing. Feminism fought and provided and raised awareness about harassment and stuff. And now this every female knows their right. They knows what mistouch is. They know how to fight against it. They take their stand. Okay, and it is all through feminism. So feminism has done its part. Okay, but now let's talk about I do want to keep the video very short, as short as possible. So I've just written down two stuff, the good things and the bad things. But I think there was something like this whole every time when the anything goes from one thing to another, there is this whole transition period, right? I think in between that, I don't know when this occurred, but this whole transition thing kind of ruined everything that women actually stood for. And this whole transition thing changed this whole feminism into something else. And there's toxic masculinity, then I think that this changed into toxic feminism. Okay, just like how men's chivalry or cavalry, whatever you called it, kind of just disappeared and changed into toxic masculinity and stuff. It was the same happened for women. Now I'm going to talk about that the bad things that changed this whole feminism, what changed, and why this whole thing is creating the same loop that our fathers once did, and this is just becoming more problematic than having a solution of it. Okay, so let's talk about my perspective, like where it all went wrong, or where it's going wrong right now. So I've written it down by topic wise. See, so now it has become shifted, the feminism has shifted from equality to entitlement. Okay, now it's more about I am a woman, or I am a I am a woman, so this thing should be done to me, or I deserve these things and I deserve things. Basically it's more like they wanted equality. Feminism was about getting equality, right? But it has now come into something like superiority or something, same as the way that our fathers did. Okay, in patriarchy, basically fathers control the whole house and stuff, and they they oppressed women, and the same thing is kind of rounding up on now. Okay, accountability is reduced, definitely reduced. So now feminism is becoming the same thing. So in Indian household and in most of outer household too, this was like kind of a thing that if their son and daughters do anything wrong, the blame was entirely upon women's, okay, the mothers, the daughters, or whoever, for adoring them. And if the sons did anything right, it was all the glory to father, and the credit always went to father. And now that so basically the in the patriarchy system, the fathers or the men never took blame to themselves, they just transferred it to women. Okay, and it was of course a fucked up thing, a very fucked up thing. But now the same thing is happening. Okay, men are being blamed for everything. I mean, not now, but like when I was getting active about these things, you can just ask any man, and most of the videos that they see, they are podcasts and stuff, and they just blame everything to men. Okay, everything, and by everything I literally mean every single thing. And this has just become a thing now. It's trend kind of, and it's fucked up trend. But what we can do, I am just going to list them down. Okay, encouraging like conflict instead of cooperation between genders. Okay, yeah, this is the whole thing. You can see a lot of stuff, okay, like podcasts and stuff and everything, like a lot of things where men are blamed for things that they never did. Okay, and this is the whole thing. I hate the whole idea of using past to justify present or future. This is the worst fucked up thing like ever. For example, men kind of, what can I say, men glorified their ancestors and said that my ancestor did this and this, and that is why this whole religious war and in India caste war and everything happens, because men are simply dumb. They used to do dumb things, they still do, and most of them do, but at that time all men were dumb. Okay, and they just fought off this whole that my ancestor lived like that and lived like that, so why won't we, and glorifying their ancestors' achievements, not their own. Okay, so it's more like my father did this, so I also deserve to be given all of this. Okay, my father started a business, took it from 0 to like 90% or something, so I also deserve the whole 90%. You don't. It's pretty simple, you don't. And the same thing is now the whole women thing. Okay, women are encouraging more conflicts because they are basically ignoring whatever men go through, just like how during patriarchy men ignored what women go through. This is the fucked up thing. You see, there is a loop. That is what the goal of today's video is, to show you that there is a loop, and this loop is fucked up. Okay, now let's see. Of course, the biggest game changer in all of this has been social media, which has made, I want to talk about it. There is like a lot of rage inside me against the feminism that we have right now, and just very, very fucked up. Okay, and it's the same thing, because the patriarchy, the women were not victims, the sons and the men of the family were also victims of that. The other men were also victim of that. Okay, it didn't just went towards women only. And the same thing the same thing is happening right now in the world. The women are kind of making other women a victim of all this, and they are inspiring them. They are making them like they are, of course, spreading misinformation about stuff, and they're promoting like weird stuff, and that is what I'm going to talk about. So there are many criticisms about women, and this is my favorite topic because this is all I wanted to say. I wanted to show you that how fucked up this whole thing has become, and believe me, before this is so hard to talk about openly, even with friends. Okay, so I'm very happy to kind of talk about it. Okay, so let's just talk about the first thing that I hate about feminism, of what it has become right now. It is going to be about how women's, the first thing first, and this is when I talked with my like childhood friend. and this is very weird thing, that women have changed their attitude towards family and motherhood. And again, family and motherhood, yeah, the very pillar of family has now changed opinion about attitude about it. Now what female had the what new narrative the feminism and the modern women's have kind of accepted and are going about is that having children is basically equal to burden. Now let me repeat it, just like I said in the video, during patriarchy, women were seen as burdens, okay, and it was not limited to it, it was for every age, okay, and women's were like girls were killed during birth, and it was one of the worst thing happening. But now women have changed narrative, not just about men, it has become about children. So basically having children is a burden. So now having children, I mean, this is the most fucked up thing that I've heard. And before writing it down, I heard this directly from my childhood friend, and whom I spent my entire childhood, and she was more like a sister to me. So this was very fucked up, and she was like saying that, what if I have children, who's gonna see me? Don't I have a right to enjoy my life? He will just become a burden. I have to enjoy my life. And this is the fucked up thing. Okay, I mean, it's not a pressure to give, that is why, and it has become a very good thing. People are planning when they are having a baby, they plan everything ahead, they set the budget and then they decide. But women are like now that my career is everything and everything is everything, I don't want a burden. So they are seeing children, our mothers, I mean, just think about it, mothers are seeing children as burden, same way that men once saw girls as burden. And it's repeating, you see, it's repeating, and it's become more horrified, because it's not just about girls anymore, it's about whole children, including boys and girls both. And this is very fucked up, and this is what I hate. And now there's another thing, that marriage is a limitation, okay, the hookup culture, okay, the experiment, the trial and error culture. I mean, I don't know what women are, the modern women, and not just including women, the modern generation has taken this whole relationship thing. It's the hookup culture now. But let's just talk about it, where women has more role than the entire generation, right? So marriage is basically a limitation. The whole thing about being committed has just become a joke now. And being committed to something is so fucking rare to see nowadays, that you might just think that it's better not to be in a relationship at all, okay. And this is the thing, and I will just and see, this is the thing, pressurizing and prioritizing career over everything, the same thing men did and mostly are doing right now too, the workaholic kind of guy, okay, who never came to their house on right time, never spent much time with their family. And this is a fucked up thing about this whole world, because you have to earn, you got to survive, and because of this whole thing you don't get enough time with your family. And the same thing is what women are doing nowadays. They think that having marriage and having a partner is a limitation, which is fucked up, because if you are not committed to a relationship, you don't have the guts to be committed to a single relationship. What kind of life I would living? I mean, it's not a game or not an experiment where you just do trial and error, and then you expect to find this whole one true love thing after watching a romantic movie. So this is fucked up. You gotta see a doctor or mental doctor or anything, but people have to change this whole narrative. And of course I'm talking about feminism and feminists. Then of course there is loyalty concerns that have raised, I don't know, but to an extreme level. I mean, casual relationships without responsibility, friends with benefits, okay, affair framed as self-exploration, like what the, I mean, affairs, having affair, cheating is self-exploration, okay. I am finding myself, I will cheat with 100 men, even though I am committed to someone, even though I am married to someone. and I will call it self-exploration. So the whole thing that sorting stuff out, trying stuff together, a relationship cannot ever sustain itself unless the both couples try to sustain it, right? But they just kind of, they are ignoring even the fact that they are in a relationship, and it's their responsibility to listen to each other, to find problems to their solution, not just okay. So I guess 0.01% kind of this whole new chemical was added, and the whole reaction has gotten very I don't know, like it has just gotten over all the room. So now we gotta just change the room itself rather than cleaning it, even though the gas that is released is neither poisonous not toxic. It's more like a deo, it's more like something that we can make a solution of, but we choose not to. So yeah, it's fucked up. Now, fastly moving on to other stuff, because there are a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, and I want to keep the video short. Okay, so now there is the body image and double standard. I mean, definitely. Have you seen this whole fat phobia, fat shaming, body shaming thing going around? Like, why the fuck are women only women? I mean, see, I mentioned this in my previous year, or also very previous video also, that being fat or calling someone fat is not bad. Why? Because it's the state of their body. They are obese, and it's not making joke of someone. It's literally stating the the state of their body, and this is why it's not a joke, okay? Or it's not always making fun of someone. Of course, some people do it because they want to make some fun of somebody, because he might be suffering from some kind of disease that has made his body store too much fat, or maybe he's going through something, anything. So you don't get to judge people. But definitely, if you are healthy, if you have the money and you are still choosing to stay unhealthy, I'm not telling you to have 6 abs, but just being too obese, it's a pretty simple question. Why the hell would you want to be unhealthy? Why do you want to destroy your body? It's pretty simple. I mean, it's most likely the women have gotten so insecure about this thing that if you even look at a woman who is obese and who is fat, she will start looking at calling you fat shamer or anything like that. But you just gotta see this thing, man. Women are not women are not underweight. They are slim, not overweight. They are, what do they call themselves? I don't know, but whatever. They just get a coping mechanism by calling themselves, giving themselves a nickname or stereotype of, and making it sound very good. It's fucked up. Okay, they should probably go to school or something, because they are making themselves more insecure by thinking all of these things. Okay, I mean, I know there are a lot of things, and all I'm doing is criticizing them, but they deserve it. Okay, it's not about feminism when it started and what it has done. It's about modern day girls or women calling themselves feminist and doing this. There are like a lot of podcasts about how justifying affairs. There are podcasts of justifying. Okay, I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah. The whole thing. Okay, men are also kind of body shamed. Okay, you call someone fat, and there is no backlash of that. So I don't know whether you call that maturity or you just call that this is a state of your body. There's nothing to be so angry about it. Okay, and that is what I think that another point that feminists have kind of fucked up over the years. Then there is big topic about abortion, okay, and responsibility of child, and this is something I really want to talk about. I mean, because see, people have their different perspective about things, and I don't really want to go too deep in the abortion topic because I don't know how women feel about that, but it's pretty fucked up. Women are justifying abortion as some kind of thing that, okay, the mistake happened, now let's just drop this child. So it's not something that happens accidentally. Now it's happening because people are choosing it. Okay, they are why, I mean, how can I talk about it? Talking about it is kind of very shameful for me. I mean, I'm not really that old right now, okay, and that's why I won't really go too deep into it, too deep into abortion topic. But definitely, before that, there's all this gold digging thing. I mean, women have many stereotypes, and one of them is gold digger, definitely. Then you see women know that what kind of content go to, I mean, you see women on Instagram and stuff, and you know what I'm talking about, you know what they do to gain public attention. Of course, you're gonna say people watch, that's why they show it, but that it just doesn't make sense. So I mean, I don't even want to get. I don't have a good example of how to. But there is no justification of this. Just so what? If someone wants to kill you, will you just go tell him to kill me because people want that, right? So you got to do that. I mean, it's fucked up. And you see how women are using their body for stuff like that. There is OnlyFans. So just when the whole world is already getting into this whole deep shit, there is this new thing called OnlyFans, and yeah, it's fucked up. It's very fucked up, and women will proudly say that this is and kind of a career for them, or I'm providing my family. But why? I mean, it's more like making fun of yourself or the whole women community and what feminism actually fought for. Honestly, as long as we are reaching to the end of video, I'm just getting a little bit crazy here. I mean, there is a lot of thoughts in my mind, and I just don't know what to say anymore. I'm just saying stuff that I wrote down, but now I'm realizing that how fucked up it all is. Okay, and I guess was mostly the topics that I wanted to talk about, and of course the fact that feminism right now sucks. It sucks to the core, and social media has been, of course, through podcasts and stuff, and it's fucked up, honestly. And I mean, of course, it's not about that every single feminism existing in this world is going through all of this. Of course, someone's still fighting for the people that they need to fight for. For example, in India, there's, of course, as I said, there's still women killed on a regular basis. A lot of women, and of course, rape cases have never gotten down in India. India is one of the most biggest center of this, and it's fucked up. It's way more fucked up than ever. But I mean, so the real women who are fighting it are the real feminists, and it was basically about why feminism has created this whole loop. It's just like patriarchy, but from father it has shifted to mothers or the women's. Okay, not really mothers, but the women's. And I mean, I do think that people really need to start changing themselves and changing this whole thought process. And feminism should be what it once was, about having equal rights and stuff, not about this whole cheating, having affairs, and justifying rape, sex. I mean, I don't know, I just don't want to even talk about it. It's too shameful to even talk about all of this. Okay, so that's all for today's video. I hope so the video wasn't too sensitive, and I'm very sorry if that hurt your feelings, but if you watched till the end, thank you very much, and definitely share your own opinions about all of this. Sayonara.